Okay, so for some of you that are renewals, this is going to be a little bit of, some of this stuff is going to be a little bit of a repeat, but we're going to go over it for our 2 new recipients, and then also because we're videotaping it today, so some other people who can't make orientation because they're living out of the state already or up in Northern California, so they can kind of view it through our webcam and be able to have access to orientation as well. Okay, so just to start, the reason we decided to have orientations is because we wanted to make sure, one, that we had at least one face-to-face interaction with you this year, and you got to meet us and know who we are, and we got to see your face and kind of was able to put names to faces and all of that good stuff. The other reason is because there's a lot of stuff that, not a lot of stuff, but there's some stuff that we're going to require of you throughout the coming year that if you don't complete, you're not going to get your scholarship money. So we just wanted to make sure that you knew what those requirements were, and that way if you had any questions, we were able to answer them for you today, and there weren't anything that came up that you were surprised for you for next year. Okay, so I'm going to start just kind of with a brief history about who we are and kind of where we get our money from. So this is our second year in existence in the desert. What happened was about 3 years ago, we kind of did an analysis of what the college going culture was in the Coachella Valley, and it's kind of been ongoing, but just trying to get an idea of how many students were actually going on to college from high schools in the desert, and we found that the number was pretty low. It wasn't as high as we would have liked to see, and we wanted to do something about it. So there's an organization called CVEP, which stands for the Coachella Valley Economic Partnership, and their main goal in the desert is to bring more businesses to the desert, as well as help businesses that are in the desert expand and grow to create more jobs in the Coachella Valley for people to come in, and also for students that are graduating from our local high schools so that they have more job opportunities here in the Coachella Valley. So what we did is we actually partnered with CVEP, and so we are a part of Pathways to Success as a part of CVEP, and we have started this whole campaign that economic development, which is what CVEP is trying to do, is education, and the only way to have the economy grow and to have these jobs to attract businesses into the desert is that we're actually creating an educated workforce. And so with that, a grant proposal was written to an organization called the College Access Foundation. College Access Foundation is based out of San Francisco, and they're an endowment foundation that basically gives scholarship money to different organizations throughout California who grant scholarships. So a grant proposal was written to them, and they kind of came down and looked at the valley and saw that we were connected to CVEP, and if any of you've ever heard of the Career Pathways Initiative, they're also the organization that creates pathways in the schools, like the health academies and the energy academies and arts and media and entertainment academies of the different schools. So we work in partnership with them to basically increase those industry clusters and help to attract jobs to the desert in those industry clusters. So CAF came down, saw what we were doing, saw that there was already a lot of people working on education, that there was a lot of people already in the desert interested in helping students from the valley complete their education and earn bachelor's degrees, and they really loved it. They loved what we were doing and said, hey, we really want to be a part of that. And so what they did is they gave us a verbal commitment that they wanted to give us $1 million a year for 10 years just to give in scholarships to the Coachella Valley. So this is our second year. Last year we gave away $1 million, and this year we gave away another $1 million that CAF gave to us. One of the other really neat things along with that is what we did is we took that money, that $1 million that CAF gave to us, and we went to a bunch of different organizations in the desert that were already giving away scholarships. So, for example, the Boys and Girls Club, the Women's Leaders Forum, the Nozzle Carry On Foundation, Cal State San Bernardino is another one, PCR Foundation. There's about 17 or 18 different partners that we had. And we went to them and said, if you increase the number of scholarships that you give away, and you increase the amount, so most of the time these organizations would give $1,000 or $500, things like that. We told them, if you increase the amount that you give away, we'll match the money. So all scholarships that you give away for community college students will be $2,500, and all scholarships that you give away to universities will be $5,000. We'll match that money, so we'll give half of the money that you give away to students. And so all those organizations loved the idea. They jumped on board, and so we were actually able to raise another $500,000 this year to give away in scholarship money. So if you've heard like our partner's name, like you got a scholarship through Cal State San Bernardino, they're one of our partners, and that's kind of how they came to be. So if you hear like all of those partner names, what happens is They make the actual selection, so they have their own application process and they select their students. But then what happens is they're also a pathway student, so once the selections have been made, you kind of get turned over to us and we kind of take care of you for the rest of the year and kind of monitor your progress throughout that. Okay. So with that being said, because we have an organization like that CEF that's giving us so much money, they have some requirements that we have to have along with our scholarship in order for them to continue to fund us. And this is a really big deal because if we don't do this and we don't give them the data and information that they want, they're not going to be able to continue funding us and being able to give away $1 million in scholarships. So this first slide is basically all of the stuff that's required of you now that you're a scholarship recipient. Okay? The first one is that you have to maintain a 2.0 grade point average. So, and that's not cumulative, that is based on the semester. So every semester we look at your grades and look to see that you maintain that 2.0. Have to have a 2.0 grade point average in order to qualify for our scholarship each year. We also understand that, especially if it's your first year in college, that there's some adjustment issues and you're getting used to the different way of studying and getting used to the different setup of the school. And we do want to work with you a little bit on this, but the biggest thing is that you do definitely keep in touch with us and let us know what's going on. So that we can intervene and help you figure out how to bring up those grades, or intervene and maybe help you attend a summer session or a winter session somewhere so that you can bring up your GPA so you're not on academic probation. The next one is that you're enrolled in a total of 12 units or a full-time status at your university, whatever your university considers full-time status. And for most, it's 12 units. There's a couple reasons for this. One is the more units you're enrolled in, the more financial aid that's available to you, and so we want to make sure that you're actually taking advantage of all of the different financial aid that's available from your university. And usually they only give out that financial aid for full-time students. They don't really give it out to part-time students. So that's one of the main reasons. The other main reasons is that we want to make sure that you're meeting graduation progress and that you're not using our money and then taking a semester off and then using our money and taking a semester off. We want to make sure that you're actually going to earn that degree in the 4 years that it takes to earn a degree. The next one is that you, this is especially important for freshmen and sophomores, you have to complete all remedial coursework by the first year that you're in school. So if you placed into a math or English that is below college level, you have to take that in your first year of college in order to get your second year scholarship if you got it, or to reapply for a scholarship. The next one is there's certain forms that you have to turn in that we require of you each semester. The first one, the first actually 4, you should